pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Clapper, could you please call the roll?
Chairman Demiria.
Here.
Vice Chairman Albrecht.
Here.
Mr. Bushnell.
Here.
Mrs. Purdy. Here. Mrs. Sebeski. Here. Mr. Williams.
Here.
Student Liaisons, Ms. Spall. Here. Mr. Whedon.
Dr. McGork, are there corrections and additions to the agenda?
Yes, we will need to add a personnel addendum, and we need to move the personnel to the action agenda.
Thank you very much.
From consent agenda.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. What is this thing here? New board member oath of office?
It is.
Do we have a new board member?
We do.
Is she here?
She is.
Is Mrs. McQuaig here?
Yes.
Well, then we are ready to rock and roll. We would like to welcome Mrs. McQuaig to provide the oath
Yes.
for our new board member, Kristen Kiefer.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kristen Kiefer,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially discharge
and impartially discharge
all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as member
as member
of the City of Manassas School Board
of the City of Manassas School Board,
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations. And this will be recorded in the and reference of the courthouse. Thank you. Congratulations.
Mrs. McQuaig, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Mrs. Sebeski, could you grab her nameplate? Okay, she can handle it.
Under
There we go.
Seated on my first.
I'd like to say a few words rather quickly. We had 9 wonderful candidates for this position, which made our decision very difficult, which is a very good thing. We were very happy to have to make such a difficult decision. If it was easy, that would have been a problem, but it wasn't easy. And I'd really like to thank the other 8 candidates who were not selected, but again, as I did the night that we interviewed them, please ask them to continue their support of our children and of our schools. And Kristen, thank you very much for being here, and get ready. It's a fun ride.
I'm ready. Thank you.
Okay. Announcements and spotlight. Dr. McGork.
I think we stay right here tonight.
That's fine.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Chairman Demiria, thank you, Dr. McGuirk, other members of the board. Good evening to everyone who is here tonight. I'd just like to let everyone know that February has been designated as School Board Appreciation Month. And the theme this year is Student-Focused Leadership, which reflects the top priority of local school board members as they advocate for public education with local, state, and federal leaders. Tonight we have students from our schools here with special presentations for the board, and they will present in the following order: Baldwin Elementary, Dean Elementary, Hayden Elementary, Round Elementary, Weems Elementary, and Mayfield Intermediate.
Good evening, and I think it's only fitting that I get to go first and be the first to welcome Mrs. Kiefer to the school board. You have had tremendous leadership at Baldwin, and I look forward to watching you evolve in your new position as the school board member. So congratulations from all of us. And this evening, as Mrs. Radford said, the theme is student leadership. And with me tonight to recognize Mr. Williams, I have our bus patrol sponsor, Miss Christina Goss, and several of our bus patrols. So if you guys want to come on up right now. And before they get started, I just would like to thank each of you for all of the time and dedication and countless hours that you put in to serve the students and the staff in the city of Manassas. It is certainly doesn't go unnoticed, and we appreciate all the things that you do to support us day in and day out. So at this time, Mrs. Goss.
All right, good evening. Next to me are a few members of Baldwin Elementary School Safety Patrols. These patrols are all responsible fourth grade leaders. All of the patrols all 30 of our patrols collectively made cards to show our appreciation to our school board member, Mr. Williams. 2 of them were chosen to present their thoughts. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is MJ. I am a 4th grader at Baldwin. Being a leader means being honest, respectful, and responsible. All I have learned from being a bus patrol. I am a leader on the bus and during the school day. Thank you, Mr. Williams, for giving us the opportunity to be a leader now and in the future.
Hi, my name is Daisy. I am a 4th grader at Baldwin. I am a bus patrol on bus 7. Being a patrol helps me keep everyone safe on the bus and helps me to be trustworthy. I am a leader on the bus and during the school day. Thank you, Mr. Williams, for giving us the chance to be respectful and responsible leaders now and in the future.
Yeah, go on around. Yeah, too late already. Just smile. Thank goodness for Photoshop.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Zella Jones, and I'm the principal at Jenny Dean Elementary. We're proud this evening to recognize Mrs. Parody, who is a former parent of a Dean student. And we have this evening with us the 3rd grade team. So I'd like to have Ms. Jameson and Ms. Work come up with our students. And we'd also like to welcome Mrs. Kiefer to the school board.
Very much. Thank you.
Good evening. First will be Ashley Rosales.
Dear Miss Prudy, you are an awesome role model. You're very positive in your work. I think you're very polite. I like that you focus on students. We appreciate your hard work. You have great honesty and leadership skills. No one can replace you. You're an inspiration. Cordially, Ashley Rosales.
Okay, next is Eileen Tower.
Dear Miss Prudy, I appreciate all the things that you do. Thank you for your leadership and kindness. I truly predict you're always nice. You are inspiring and pretty. Thank you for working hard. Thank you for being a role model. You are a perfect school board member. Cordially, Aileen Tower.
All right, and next is Diana Castillo-Alaman.
Dear Miss Purdy, thank you for focusing on all students. You are a truly wonderful leader. All students appreciate your kindness and your honesty. You are really just a fantastic role model. I also want to thank you for being a truly awesome person. You are polite and trustworthy. You are important to me and all other students. Cordially, Diana Castillo.
Thanks, Diana. Okay, and then Bridget DiGiacomo.
Dear Miss Purdy, I love all you do. You are very important to me. I think you're a fantastic role model and you are a truly important person. You're an inspiring person and you totally rock. You're a leader to everyone and no one can replace you ever. You're awesome to me and to others. You focus on students, so thank you for everything you do. Cordially, Bridget DiGiacomo.
Thank you, Bridget.
Let me get a picture of everybody together. One more. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and a special welcome to Mrs. Kiefer. You could not have picked a better evening to begin. This is one of our favorite evenings where we get to thank you all for your service, so thank you. We get the pleasure to thank you, Mrs. Sebeski. I have 4 friends here. All right, Giles Yambau, are you ready to go first? Okay, go ahead.
Dear Mrs. Sebeski, thank you for letting us learn a way that fits for myself and others. Also, thank you for volunteering for the school board, and thanks for not giving up for a challenge.
Up next will be Anaya Turley.
Thank you, Miss Sebeski. I just want to give a thank you because you helped run our school and make Hale Elementary the best school. And we are so smart and so thankful for you being our school board member.
Thank you. Up next, Nina Proctor. Thank you, Mr. Abt.
Dear Ms. Sebeski, thank you for keeping your focus on the students. Sincerely, Nina Simone Proctor.
And finally, we have a short poem that Victor Alume and Allison Ruiz will read together. Nice and loud, you can do it.
Morally responsible, sweet. I just need Mrs. to do that.
S for share.
E for enjoy helping.
B for beautiful.
E for energetic.
S for successful.
K for kind.
Y for useful.
All right. Everybody say thank you together.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all very much. I will read all of these. I did last year. Thank you so much. Okay, this is what I said. Absolutely. Great job. Thank you all very much.
Well, good evening, Chairman DeMaria, members of the board, Dr. McGork. I first would like to extend a very warm welcome to you, Mrs. Kiefer. I look forward to getting to know you better and working with you in the coming weeks, months, and beyond. We were very excited that we get to honor Chairman DeMaria tonight because we thought, wow, we can go in so many different directions with this. So we just got really creative, and we hope you enjoy what we have come up with. I'm really proud to present to you 4 fine young students from Round Elementary tonight, and I have no doubt that you're looking at 4 future leaders in our community. We have, that's right.
Absolutely.
They're ready. We'll start with Miss Nina. We have Benjamin, we have O'Neill, and we have Noah to present to you tonight. Go ahead, Nina.
Dear Mr. DeMaria, thank you for helping all Manassas City Public Schools students. You are kind to us. You are always working hard to make good decisions for our schools. You are very caring and generous. Thank you for helping us do the best work we can. You are a great leader and role model. Sincerely, Nina.
Dear Mr. DeMaria, thank you for making good decisions for the students of Manassas City Public Schools. You are a good leader. We like you a lot. You always help us in Manassas City. You can come by and visit us at Round if you want to. Your friend, Ben.
Dear Mr. DeMaria, thank you for helping the school board. I like the fact that you make the decision. I also like that you like the students of the Manassas City Public Schools. Even though I haven't met you, you look happy on your picture right here. I was looking at it while I was writing this. I'm happy to present you this card at City Hall. Sincerely, O'Neill.
Dear Mr. Dear Mr. DeMaria, thank you for helping our school and our school board. You are leading all our students in our schools. You are a very good man and do very hard work. Thank you, Noah Nicolette.
A little bit crazy. I know.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I'll do one more. 1, 2, 3. Very nice.
Hello, good evening. Chairman DeMaria, all members of the school board. Thank you so much for everything that you do every day. And we're here to honor Mr. Bushnell and all the hard work that you put in. We appreciate everything that you do. Ms. Kiefer, welcome.
Thank you.
It's nice getting to know you at Baldwin and look forward to working with you in this capacity.
Definitely.
So we have some fourth graders and some kindergartners, and I'm going to let their teachers go ahead and introduce them, and they have a special message or two for Mr. Bushnell.
Hi, I'm Miss Stevens. I'm here with my fourth grade class. I'm with Ryan, Grace, and Morgan, and we're very excited to present what we made for Mr. Bushnell.
Hi, I'm Miss Mullen. I'm with my kindergarten class. We're with Aiden, Carlos, and Gia, and we brought a poster to show you guys.
Thank you so much for helping and being part of the school board. Thank you so much for supporting new students. Thank you so much for helping us become a better school. Thank you so much. You are an awesome leader.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Crazies ones too.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was good. Good job.
Just come get here together.
What thing is?
Down there. Get everybody? Okay, good. There we go. Scoot in a little bit higher. Yep. There you go. All right, here we go. Look this way. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna do one more. 1. Everybody look this way. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you.
Good evening. Chairman DeMaria and members of the school board, Dr. McGork, thank you very much for allowing us to come tonight. Congratulations to Mrs. Kiefer on your selection to represent Manassas City Schools as a member of as the newest member of the Manassas City School Board there. Thank you for all of your service. I know, speaking on behalf of Dr. Cramp, your participation with Baldwin PTA and your participation with the Mayfield PTA has just been exemplary. Thank you for your commitment and your energy and your time. It is most appreciated. Beside me, I have 6 outstanding students who represent over 1,000 students at Mayfield Intermediate School. To my right, I have Eunice Callaway Spain. I have Addison Dangler, Ryan Lusky, Quinn Westcott, Amelia Echeverria, and Timmy Tyrell. In honor of School Board Appreciation Month, we are here to share some notes and letters of thanks and appreciation to Vice Chairman Albrecht for his nearly 15 years of outstanding service and commitment to Manassas City Public Schools as a school board member. Mr. Albrecht, thank you very much. And if you would like to share anything, we have some notes and things like that. We're a little gun shy to read them, but we would like to honor these and provide these to you there.
Thank you for making Manassas City and Manassas City Schools a better place.
Thank you for supporting us for over 15 years and putting up with us and allowing us to get a better education for us and many other kids.
Thank you, Mr. Albrecht, for doing all that you do for Manassas City Public Schools. Thank you very much for your 15 years of serving. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do for all of our schools.
Thanks for helping Manassas City Public Schools be the best
School District. Thank you for devoting your time to Manassas City Public Schools.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I don't put up with you guys. The citizens of Manassas are going to put up with me. I like you guys making me a ball.
Is that everyone?
You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. We'll do one more.
I mean,
1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. We have one more group that we need to thank. During Mrs. Kiefer's appointment, we had quite a event to put on in order to do everything lawfully and correct in order to select her. And that's just the latest thing that these people have done. Without them, the meetings wouldn't happen. We wouldn't have any paperwork in front of us. We wouldn't know what was going on. Not that we really do anyway, but our clerks are vitally important to us. I'm very thankful we have 2 clerks that are so professional and responsible in order to keep us on track. So tonight, I would like to thank the 2 of them. I'm going to start with, is it Lee Miller? You guys stand right here. Stand right there. And our clerk of the board, I always say clerk of the court, I want to be a lawyer, I guess, is Carrie Ann Clapper. No, you do the most. I don't even have to get on my squat down.
Let me do one this way.
Okay, now we're going to get into committee reports, and that is your cue.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Kids, thank you the most.
Yeah.
We really, really appreciate it. Okay.
Oh, aren't they darling? I'll tell you what, I'll put this down so you don't have it.
Clear house.
Yeah, I do. Love you all too. Yeah, I know it. Oh, really? No. Good, we'll discuss it later.
The other side is the presentations. Okay, great. Thank you. So, when you look at this, okay. So this is the new business. Okay. Your husband? Yeah. Your mom? Yeah, and my kids. I've never met them. I know. That's when I said they came. I was wondering if they would come. I just wanted They don't want to stay? This is where it gets interesting. I know. You said, what are you going to tell?
Greg supported him to say staff's going to cover their finance. Is that okay?
Sure, absolutely.
I don't want to say.
Well, it's not in finance, is it?
Mr. Demary, you know how to clear a room, don't you?
Yeah. Is that where we have it?
Yeah.
Under discussion, okay. Board committee reports. Mr. Williams, anything on academics?
No report, sir.
Mrs. Zabeski, policy.
No report.
Is that the end of it?
That's the end of it.
I'll be darned. Education support, sir.
Staff will present under finance the new Baldwin status.
Thank you, sir. There was a finance committee tonight. Mr. Bushnell, is there any report?
As a matter of fact, there is, sir.
Thank you.
Can I start your clock? So, Finance Committee met earlier this evening. We got a report on the renegotiation of the School Resource Officer Memorandum of Understanding between us and the City Police. We have asked for a couple of modifications, which staff will pursue and bring back to the full board for action. We received information about CIP and 5-year forecast updates, which we will ask to be forwarded to the full board at a work session. We approved a form for recommended adjustments to the superintendent's proposed budget. So that's a form that you will all be seeing in each meeting going forward. And as we work on the budget, if you find changes that you want to have made, please let us know. But I think it includes, it's a moving list that includes everything. It's cumulative, so it's not individual change sheets for each change. It shows budget update to where the changes would be pending action. We received a report on proposed medical insurance rates. The good news is that all of the insurance rates were a little bit lower than, we finally have the final rates that we didn't have when the superintendent proposed her budget. The rates are all a little bit lower than what the superintendent had proposed, and that will be subject of, I'm sure, a lot of discussion at a full work session of the board. Finally, one of the board members had asked for a report on purchase services. That report will be distributed to the full board. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anything on personnel, sir?
No, sir.
Board member comments. We had one missing board member last meeting and one spot not filled. So I'm going to read this first. I'm asking that board members not publicly express individual negative or personal judgments about MCPS staff performance outside of the formal evaluation process. Any such judgments regarding staff performance will be made only by the full board. And as long as it's her first night, we're going to start off with Mrs. Kiefer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to say a few brief things, and one is thank you so much to the community, to the board, to the clerks, to everybody for such a warm welcome. And I, too, as a parent, as well as now a school board member, just want to thank you all for your service. I do appreciate each and every one of you and all that the superintendent and the staff and the whole community does for us. So thank you for the warm welcome. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get to work.
Thank you, ma'am, and more than welcome. Mrs. Purdy.
Okay. I've got a couple things. First and foremost, I too also would like to congratulate you, Mrs. Kiefer. I'm really very happy that you're joining us, and I'm pretty confident that those same awesome skills that you brought to the Baldwin PTO are going to serve us well here on the board. I'd like to echo what Mr. DeMaria said about the other applicants. That's a really good problem to have when you're trying to do a selection, when you have such a deep bench of people who have incredible depth in capability and willingness to serve. So that just says a lot about the city that we're in. Golly, I was kind of overwhelmed by Ashley, Eileen, Diana, and Bridget. I'm debating whether or not I should try to plant these at the school or maybe just go ahead and take them home and plant them in my yard so they come back up. So we'll see what happens. I forgot to bring my homework. I had some prepared comments because one of my favorite writers, no kidding, really is Dr. Martin Luther King. And my kids probably don't know how often I quote him, but I quote him a lot. So I'm going to have to wing it and hope I get it right. One of my favorite articles that Dr. King wrote, he wrote all the way back in 1947, and it was called The Principles of Education. And so that's one of the quotes I always tell him, but I'm probably going to get it wrong. But basically what he said was, intelligence and character, that is the true purpose of education. But the thing that always struck me about that article that he wrote in college, he talked about education should instill the ability for people to employ intensive and critical thinking. But it's absolutely incredibly important that you temper that intelligence with character. And so one of the things that I'm constantly thinking of when I look at the kids have such a window to the world because of all of the digital connection that we have. And I just think, here we are, from his speech that he wrote in 1968, it's just as true and more so today than it was back then. So what I talk to my kids about, and this is something that I want to point out that what I see our teachers doing. Dr. King noted, cowardice asks, is it safe? Expediency asks, is it politic? Vanity asks, is it popular? But conscience asks, is it right? And there will come a time, whether or not it is right, it is safe, politic, or popular, when one will have to take a stand because it is right. And so when I'm around in the schools, there's almost never a time when I don't hear some teacher somewhere telling a student, character is what you do when no one's looking. So one of the things I really appreciate about Manassas City Public Schools is we keep that spirit of that wisdom from Dr. Keem kind of threaded throughout what we're teaching our kids. And so when they're bombarded with the things that they see on the internet and on the news and stuff, they're going to have that critical thinking to help them sort through making the hard right choices, and they're going to have that character that's going to help them avoid doing the easy wrong, because we will help through our education process, give them that fortitude that character is going to help see them through. So teachers, thank you for doing that, and continue to enjoy Black History Month, because it really is. There's a lot of wisdom that comes from kind of thinking through what we've been given through the ages. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Sebeski.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. I also would like to welcome Kristen Kiefer to the school board, and I look forward to working with you and watching you evolve, and I know you'll do well by the community. And I'd like to also thank the other applicants that put in a lot of time to come and be considered. As it's already been said, it was a great problem to have so many qualified candidates that were willing to want to come and serve on this board, and I really appreciated getting to hear what they all had to say, and I want you to know I appreciated your time, and I look forward to seeing you in many other community activities as we go through the coming years. I'd like to thank Hayden Elementary for my lovely letters and box. I really will read all of those letters, and I enjoyed coming over and helping with the roller skating, and I'm sure you'll see me again as I've come in and out of Hayden, and I can hope to continue to meet more of the students and faculty there. I'd like to thank the City of Manassas Public Works for the great job that they did with the snow removal and all the snow that we've had recently, and getting our parking lots cleared in a timely manner so that we could get back to school, and to our custodians who had to clear a lot of sidewalks to help prepare for the students to get back to school as well. I'm sure all the students were really sad that they had those snow days, so I'm really glad that we had great staff to take care of that. I'd like to say, at our last meeting, the superintendent went on for about 15 or 20 minutes at all the accomplishments that Manassas City Schools has done in less than a 2-year time frame. It was overwhelmingly amazing, and it's due to all the great things that go on in our schools every single day. And these students that were here tonight are great examples of that, as well as great things we see in our community. With that, we had great attendance at the Saturday with the Superintendent, even though it was snowing. People stayed and finished listening and asking questions, and there'll be another one of those on March 21st. And I hope even more people will come out and have the opportunity to spend time with your superintendent, hear what she has to say, get an opportunity to ask questions in a small environment. It's not something you get in large school systems. Most of those people don't ever even see a superintendent, much less get an opportunity to be able to speak directly to them. Manassas is a great city, and many people volunteer many hours of their time to benefit the city and make it a great and wonderful place to live. When people choose to speak or post negatively about the city, it reflects negatively on our whole city, not just select parts of the city or certain departments of the city. We need to care about the welfare of our city and hold those who do say or post negative thoughts and ideas accountable to the fact that it really is an insult to each and every one of us that live and work here in the city. Being positive will help the whole city rise up to the greatness in every way. Be part of the positive in our community and reject the negative and help our city thrive. No place is perfect, but we have a great school system and a great city. And we all play a part in getting that positive message out to others and making the needed changes that our community needs. And being part of that, Manassas Education Foundation is sponsoring an event this Thursday, the 26th of February. It's called Stand Strong for Education. It's from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Mayfield Intermediate School. This event will raise funds and help build a positive bridge between our businesses with our community members and our schools. I hope you will come out and support this great event. There will be food tasting, door prizes, and a wide variety of student performances from several of our schools. It should be a wonderful event. Last year we had over 500 people attend. I am a representative of the board onto the Manassas Education Foundation, and I'm very proud of the work they're doing, and I hope that people will come out and support this event. I also serve on the School Health Advisory Board, and I'd like to make everyone aware of the fact that there is a Children's Wellness Fair that's being planned for March the 25th at Metz Middle School from 5 to 7 p.m. They have several community partners that are helping them with this event. The Host Lions Club and the Inter-Service Club in particular came out and are helping to support this event. Last, but certainly not least, because it's dear and dear to my heart, is the student liaison process. It is that time of year again for us to start looking for next year's 2015-16 school board liaisons. Any interested student at Osborne High School that is a rising junior or senior can apply. The applications are highlighted on the school division website. It appears right after the Education Foundation graphic. It's under the school board page, but it can also be accessed under the Parents and Student tab. And for those of you that don't know, it's www.mcpsva.org, and you can go from there. Students should look for posters around Osborne High School this week, also letting you know about this process. If any students or parents have questions, they can contact the guidance department, Mrs. Benner, the clerk of the board, myself, anybody you think you would like to get a hold of. We hope that there will be many qualified candidates like we had last year. Be sure to get started soon. If the application is not completed in full, as some were not last year, and then submitted on time with all the requirements, the student cannot be considered for the appointment. Parents, please encourage your children to apply, as this is a great opportunity for the students to gain experience in local government and leadership and make a difference in our community. They can download the application, and I look forward to meeting them. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Glad we didn't have any policy report. Mr. Williams.
Thank you. I think mine is just as long, so.
Oh, great.
I apologize in advance. Hey, it's a short meeting. First, welcome, Ms. Kiefer. We're honored to have you and look forward to working with you, and we appreciate your willingness to step in and help out. I'd like to thank Dr. Cramp, the staff at Baldwin, and the students at Baldwin for that wonderful presentation. Things like that are what makes what we do, to me, worthwhile, so thank you very much. You should be proud of your students and your staff. They did a great job, and I really appreciate the cards, and I'll hang them around my house if my wife lets me. Last week was School Board Clerk Appreciation Week. Thank you to Ms. Clapper and Ms. Miller for being great clerks and providing awesome support to the board and to our school system. I truly appreciate it, and we all do. Thanks to Dr. McGorrick, our administrators, Mr. Helton, over there, Mr. Apt, and our staff for making careful, deliberate weather decisions. It's very easy to criticize decisions to open or close school, but these are sometimes hard choices. I work in DC with people from all over the DMV, so to speak, and people in different counties complain profusely about going to school, not going to school, and what their superintendents do, and we have done a great job, so I thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Dr. McGorrick and our staff put the interests of our students, their families, and our staff first when making these decisions, and we should all appreciate that. Despite the snow and cold weather, we've had quite a few activities this month in MCPS. We had a great city chorus performance by choirs of each and every school in Manassas earlier this month at the Hilton Center, and the students did a great job. Thanks to all of our music teachers for their hard work to pull this concert off. Osborne High School last week hosted a district chorus concert, and they also hosted rehearsals for students who were selected from area middle schools and high schools. The OHS students who performed did a great job. A lot of effort went to hosting the visiting students who spent most of last Friday in our school and Saturday at Osborne when they did the concert. Our students, especially our choir and guitar students, our music teachers, other staff and administrators at Osborne, and the Osborne Choral Boosters volunteered many hours to make the event a success, so kudos to them for their help. When things happen that are bad, we hear about it. When great things happen like that, we often don't, but they did a wonderful job. And one thing that really struck me was that a lot of the high school students, between class at Osborne, they play music, and the chorus students loved to sing, so they would sing along with the songs between classes, and they thought it was neat that we did that, because those schools didn't do it. So it's another thing we did, which may sound kind of strange or different, but our students appreciated it, and other students were really impressed by it, which means our students feel good that, hey, we have something no one else has. Good luck to the boys and girls basketball teams at Osborne. The boys won the district playoffs, and they play at home this Thursday night at 7 o'clock against South Lakes. The girls play an opponent to be determined on the road at 7 o'clock on Thursday night. Also this Thursday, as Mr. Besky mentioned, please come out and support the Education Foundation, which has a Stand Strong for Education event from 5:30 to 7:30 at Mayfield. And at 6:30 that evening, METS has a Black History Month program. Which segues into my final comments, a brief discussion about Black History Month, which is celebrated every February. Carter G. Woodson started Negro History Week in 1926. This week was a precursor to Black History Month, which was first celebrated in 1970 and first recognized by the U.S. government in 1976. The purpose of Black History Month is to celebrate and note the contributions of African Americans to American history. Black History Month is sometimes a touchstone for controversy. Some wonder why we need to have a month just to recognize one group of people, and others wonder why Black History Month isn't made to be a yearly event, why isn't it discussed more year-round. Last year, this time during my school board comments, I discussed why I think Black History Month is important. This year, I will continue with that theme, but with a little twist. As I stated earlier, I believe the primary purpose of Black History Month is to celebrate the contributions of African Americans. These contributions, ranging from science to music and architecture to religion, are important and invaluable aspects of American history. Black History Month is also a reminder that most successful African Americans are not all athletes or entertainers. Too often, we in society have that impression, which unconsciously steers kids into thinking they have limited vehicles to attain success, while reinforcing a dangerous stereotype which is harmful to us all. These contributions also serve to remind us of the value of diversity, in this instance, racial diversity in our society. Malcolm Forbes said, "Diversity is the art of thinking independently together." The unique, incredible diversity of our nation, and also in our community of Manassas, whether it be race, gender, economics, or religion, yields many independent thinkers who come together to make America the great nation that it is. My wife had the privilege of speaking to City Council earlier this month, and while preparing her comments, we discussed a video about diversity by financial guru Melody Hobson. In the video, Hobson talks about the value of diversity and cites many examples. An example that especially resonated with my wife and me was about the smallpox plague in Europe. Many of the brightest scientists in Europe could not come up with a cure until a farmer, and I wrote this down, yes, Tim, a farmer,
Attaboy.
speaking with the doctor, stated that some of the people on his farm seemed to be immune from the disease. Scientists soon crafted a successful bovine-based vaccine to combat smallpox. The farmer was not a traditional scientist, but the diversity of experience they possessed helped solve the vaccine problem. I will end with this. I love attending sporting events and I also love music. Though we live in an ethnically diverse community, when I've attended such events at Manassas at a game or a concert, and I thought of this recently, never once do I hear any fan or patron or any parent say, "I only hope kids that look a certain way or speak a certain language or at home or a certain color perform well." When we cheer for our kids, we do so with pride, with one purpose, one heart, one voice, and one mind. Some loudly, more loudly than others, Tim. I hope that Black History Month serves to remind us of the contributions of African Americans and the power of diversity. And like our actions at a sporting event or a concert, how great would our community be if we decided that when we educate our kids or talk about what's best for our community, we don't denigrate or marginalize any of our citizens or act as if diversity is some kind of crutch or it's holding us back. Rather, we treat it as a strength as we strive to serve our students and our community with one purpose, one heart, one voice, and one mind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bushnell.
Thank you. First of all, Ms. Kiefer, thank you for applying. Welcome to the board. Thank you. We all look forward to working with you. I have said previously, before we filled this position, that Ms. Chavez was the heart of the school board, that we all have our roles. So you have big shoes to fill, but we're confident that you will play an important part in helping this board be all that it can be. One of the important things about Ms. Kiefer and about the other people who applied for this position, I firmly believe that every member of this board, we may have different politics, we may have different approaches to our daily lives, but every member of this board, our top priority is the students of the city of Manassas. And Ms. Kiefer shares that priority, and that is good for this board and for the city, I believe. I'd like to thank the entire Weems team for honoring me, but I have to give you a little inside baseball. I've been doing this job for 25 years, so Mr. Albrecht, who's been doing it for 15, is still a rookie.
I'm in my prime.
When I was first appointed to this board, I met the teacher of the kindergarten class who presented me the award tonight. She was, I believe, 4 years old when I met her before she was in kindergarten. And while it may be a comment on my own longevity, it is also a real comment on this community, I believe. Because kids who grow up in this town, who graduate from our high school, choose to come back here and work with the children of Manassas to educate them and to be a part of this community on an entirely different level. And so when I see a child who I've known since before kindergarten come and be the teacher who gives me an award for being on the school board, that says something right to me about this community and how we care. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Got anything left?
Yeah, well,
Mr. Albrecht, please.
Thank you, sir. I mean, so a lot of this is going to be somewhat repetitive, and for that I apologize. But Kristen, welcome, congratulations, and thank you. And as Mr. DeMario and others have said, thank you to the 9 people who applied. That level of community engagement, community involvement is really positive to see, and we really do respect and appreciate it because it's really a commitment to do. To the students of Mayfield, Mr. Krasser, thank you. I think as Mrs. Sebeski said, I will make an effort. I will take the effort to read all of the cards, and I really appreciate their heartfelt words. And as Mr. Bushnell said, that's why we do it. It's for the students here in the city. Our city manager, Mr. Pates, in the audience, and I was at central office yesterday with Mr. App, Mr. Helton. They talked about community enforcement, and a pet peeve of mine for years has been snow and sidewalks and the safety issue it is, not only for our students, but for everyone in the community to try to traverse the walkways. And he informed me that in several neighborhoods, our zoning officials have been out working with the city to make sure that people know they're supposed to shovel their sidewalks. And to the city, I say thank you, because that's something that's really a civic responsibility, and there's probably a guy on the radio who would say it's probably a core value. Last Monday, I had the opportunity to go down to Richmond. It was fantastic to meet with Delegate Miller. He took the time. We had a fantastic, wonderful conversation. He's very supportive of education. In his office, in the hallway, was artwork from Mayfield and Baldwin from other schools. It was really positive and encouraging to see. Later that afternoon, I met Senator Colgan. His family was also there, and members of the VSBA that were present. We were introduced on the Senate floor. So it was really good to talk to our local delegates, our local senator, about what's important and what are the issues out there, because as we see every year at the state level, there's less and less funding for K-12 education, increased mandates, increased responsibilities, and the result is a larger and larger burden on the locality. And it's something I think our city council knows, to the 2 council members who were here earlier. I think they all share that. We all as a community share that burden of where the buck stops, because forget the federal government, forget the state government. When it really comes to some initiatives and education being foremost, it's a local initiative. And finally, I want to thank Dr. McGork, Mr. Abt, Mr. Helton, for letting Mr. Demaria and I participate in discussions which staff will present later today. I got a chance to be me and ask those frank, candid, difficult questions in sometimes a very direct manner. And they're ones that the entire community, I think, and we'll talk about later. So thank you for the involvement.
Okay, guys, now I will be short.
I wasn't sure.
No, you weren't. You took paid away from me. So, Mr. Lovejoy, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Mrs. Bass was here earlier for the Finance Committee meeting. I think she stepped in here for a moment, but she obviously had to leave. Thank her for being here. Thank you to Round for honoring me and sending the crazy kids up for me. That was right on target. And I've already enough welcomes for you. We're done with that. And I'm going to go with Ms. Spall, and that's it. So thank you all very much. That's board members' citizens' comments. At this time, we welcome citizens who wish to speak about services, policies, and affairs of the City of Manassas Public Schools. Because we have an agenda to keep, we ask that comments be limited to 3 minutes. We appreciate the time you have taken to be here. We treat citizen comments as a public hearing and do not engage in conversation with speakers. The lack of an immediate response to your comments should not be taken as a lack of interest or concern. Please note that matters which are properly the subject of closed meetings, such as those related to the performance of school personnel or individual school concerns, may not be discussed during this time. My friend John Bland, you are the only person we have signed up.
Does that mean I get a half hour?
No, sir. Only board members seem to get that, except for me and Anna.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Bland. I live at 10226 Racket Circle. The reason that I am here today is much like we've seen tonight. It's focus on the kids. And over the course of time, I have seen examples where our kids have been affected by things that happen in the schools. And I want to recommend once again, as I've done several times in the past, that you consider, as our faculty in that are retiring, to consider paying them out their full salary for what time they have left in their leave bank, because the kids are getting cheated out of having their teachers in the classroom, and the taxpayers have to pay for a substitute. So we pay teachers taking a lot of leave off as they approach retirement. They get paid their salary. We still have to pay for substitutes, and the kids don't get the attention and focus of their teacher that they need. I've had that happen to my kids 3 times since they've been in schools here. I really think it's a serious issue. Last time I brought it up, I was told, Mr. Bland, you don't understand, it comes from different buckets. Well, let me tell you, it comes from one bucket. It comes from this bucket, my bucket, all your buckets, your city taxpayers too. Let's get the focus on the kids and getting them the best education we can. And then, as Mr. Albrecht brought up, I do have a comment about snow removal and that. I think that there was a lot of places where things were cleaned out well, but I got to tell you, looking at it through the eyes of a handicapped individual and citizen, there's a lot of places where the snow, not just in the school parking lots, but in the city parking lots, where it was all pushed into was the handicap parking spaces. And the parking spaces for the able-bodied were perfectly fine. This happens repeatedly. And when you try to get into one of these schools as a handicapped parent, and you can't walk on the sidewalk, or you can't get a parking place that's reasonably close to the building, it's tough. I think some people need to take a look at this issue and see what can be done to improve upon it, because there's a lot of us that have trouble with this. Thank you for your...
Perfect timing, John. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Mr. Ed Spall. Class of 84. 3?
That's correct.
I said 2 of them.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, new member of the board. Nice to see you. Actually, this is the second time I saw you when you had your interview. Did a great job, and I was hoping that they would pick you. And they did. But anyway, as Ms. Sebeski reminded us earlier, we've come a long way in a couple years in the schools. It's hard to get ahead sometimes when folks are trying to drag you down. And there are voices in the city of Manassas who will do exactly that to our school system. Sometimes, you know, with no foundation whatsoever. Elected people, you know, who come out and they seek to create problems where none exist, sow confusion about our leadership and our goals, and make ungrounded accusations. You know, this is not welcome. This is not welcome to me. It reinforces the idea that our city can be full of yahoos, know-nothings, and rubes, and I want to make sure that that comes to an end. Your restraint that you've shown, you know, since this process started of selection, has been great. I appreciate it. And as Ms. Purdy reminds us, character is important. We teach it to the kids. Character counts. And someone with character doesn't do the kind of things that I was just describing. And I want it to stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thanks for being short, because I messed up the timer. Anyone else like to speak?
I'm so going to try not to cough on Mike.
Oh, well, she hasn't started yet.
Good evening, Chairman DeMaria, Vice Chairman Albrecht, members of the board, Ms. Kiefer. I'm Jenny Higginbotham. I'm the Vice President of the Manassas Education Association and a teacher at Metz. I wanted to say, it's budget time. We always get up at budget time and make a comment or two. We know what a difficult process this is, those of us in the schools. We know you know what a difficult process this is. I would like to thank Dr. McGorrick for what she's done so far. She has come to our school. She has discussed the budget with us. She has discussed the new support staff salary scale, which is fantastic. As support staff, I really appreciate that. That's Ms. Wingfield was in on that too, I believe. And it's a wonderful thing to have presented to us. And I know that many of us are happy to go from our very confusing former scale to now a step scale. I want to make clear that we understand how lucky we are at the moment that there are no RIFs planned for Manassas City, where we have other school systems locally that are looking at possible RIFs, where they're going to lose wonderful teachers. I like that I work in a city that cares about not only its students, but its personnel as well. We feel that at times we're not heard, but we know we are when care is taken to preserve our jobs. So during this time, consider what you can, and thank you again for all you've done so far.
Thank you. Anyone else like to say anything? Okay. Thank you all very much. It's 3. That's 3 more than we usually get, and that's very nice. Thank you very much. Consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, we actually, since the presentations ran so long, we actually received the information that had caused us to remove personnel from the consent agenda.
Sure.
I would move that we approve the consent agenda as amended, including personnel.
Second.
Okay. Okay, so we did it. Okay. But you, that was you. Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Bushnell and a second by Mrs. Sebeski that the school board of the city of Manassas approve the consent agenda as amended. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries 7-0.
It's the first time you've got to do that for a while.
It's been a while. Thank you for being here. I thanked you again. I didn't mean to do that anymore. Discussion agenda, New Baldwin Elementary Intermediate School.
Mr. App?
Good evening, Chairman Demaria, members of the school board, and Dr. McGuirk. This evening, staff will share the updated bid report for the new Baldwin Elementary and Intermediate School project. I'd like to also share with you that present tonight from Mosley Architects are Mr. Jim McCullough and Billy Riggs. Thank you for coming on up for this presentation. As far as general information to share with the board as well as the public, the new Baldwin Elementary and Intermediate address will be 9000 Tudor Lane, which is the current site of the baseball-softball complex and the former central office location. Sites relocated to facilitate this new Baldwin construction is a new central office address at 8700 Centerville Road and the new Osborne High School baseball complex site, the future of being at 9705 Main Street, which is our current site of our current Baldwin Elementary School. And again, as a reminder, the current temporary site for the Osborne High School baseball and softball home games will be at Metz Middle School. As background information, funds allocated for this project was $38,050,000. Original construction costs were at $31,726,384. On December the 4th, 8 responsive construction bids were received and opened with the low bid at $40,627,741. As you know, this low bid exceeded the budget by $8.9 million. Included in this project was a 150,000 square feet building that would house pre-K through 4 elementary, intermediate school for grades 5 and 6, and the division special education program. Additionally, there was storage space that could be converted to 3 classrooms for future growth, as well as the Osborne High School baseball-softball complex. Finally, there was soil work and also the Baldwin demolition. These are the areas that we addressed to reduce the cost of the project at our past school board meeting. You can see that those are literally from the last slide of those removals. You have received 2 handouts from Mrs. Clapper, the bid tabulation sheet and the data worksheet. As you can see, the current low bid for consideration is Schweibel Construction at a cost of $32,388,000. If you refer to the bid tabulation sheet, and I mentioned earlier we received 8 bids for this project. 6 bids for this project. One thing that I'd like to point out on page 1 is that 4 of those bids were within $181,000 in the bid that was that was currently the low bid of $32,388,000, 4 within $181,000. On the data worksheet that you have as well, this breaks down our costs. You can see that the total budget of $38,050,000. You see the cost for the demolition of our central offices was included in that borrow, as well as our design and construction, our work with the education specifications with Mr. DeYoung, the COW, or as we know as the clerk of the works, that would be on site when we begin the project, the contingency, furniture and technology costs, testing, inspection, and geotac, as well as the third-party commissioning. As you can see from this slide, in order to reduce costs, the building was decreased from 154,000 square feet to 140,000 square feet which is now at a cost of $231 per square feet. The following items that have strike-throughs were taken out of the project. Coincidentally, Prince William County Public Schools also had a construction bid opened on the same day of February 19th. That was for a single elementary school. Discussions were held with Mosley Architects and Schwabel Construction immediately, and a meeting, as Mr. Albrecht referred to yesterday, to fully understand the cost difference when comparing both schools. The elementary school in Prince William County Public Schools has distinct differences that will be illustrated on upcoming slides. Specific features in Baldwin's design is a chilled beam mechanical system. The benefits from this system is the following: lower energy consumption, extremely low maintenance, a quiet airflow, requires no filter changes in the classrooms. Chilled beam systems have been installed in other K-12 public schools and universities in Virginia. Prince William County is also including the chilled beam system in their upcoming 12th high school. Another significant return on investment is LED lighting, opposed to traditional fluorescent type lighting. This will allow for a 5-year return on investment. Manassas City Public Schools has begun this process in changing out LED lighting in and across our school division. With close proximity to historic downtown Manassas, certain expectations were expressed during the design process. The architects used the Historic District Handbook to guide their design for our Baldwin. The general configuration of the building was a simple rectangular shape as opposed to the overall geometry of the existing Baldwin, for example, that had irregular shapes, wings, various building heights, etc. The new Baldwin is basically a simple T-shape or rectangular blocks with a combination of 3-story, 2-story, and 1-story massing as outlined in the handbook. The building has a monumental scale and presence as outlined in the handbook as being appropriate for governmental buildings. Mosley Architects utilized a low slope roof as prescribed in the handbook for commercial buildings. They utilize windows that are regularly spaced and similar in proportion and type on all facades. They also utilized a ratio of rhythm and placement of windows on the facade of the building to relate to historic buildings. Mosley incorporated a cornice at the top of the exterior walls as prescribed in the handbook. The handbook states new commercial buildings should use cornices in their designs. The facades of the building are made of brick, as stated in the handbook, that masonry, such as brick, should be used for new construction. The diagrams included in the handbook also imply an architectural aesthetic that has been utilized for the new Baldwin School. It is important to note that Baldwin's site is not technically within the historic district, but is across the edge. It was made clear to us from the beginning of the project when meeting with city planning to comply with these guidelines. In working with Schwabel Construction, these special features account for approximately $608,000. Due to land constraints, the additional cost to have a 3-story design also comes with a cost. Schwabel's estimated cost is noted above at $1,579,640. Mosley's architects estimated $1.6 million, very close when comparing both. Ornamental fencing was used in the front of the building for student safety so that students and parents use the crosswalks when entering the building. The city required ornamental fencing at the back of the building, and so it was also used in the front for continuity. Can you go back, Russell? I'm sorry. It's not the easiest to see, but right here is the ornamental fencing. Again, they park or whatever, and it requires them to get through the K4, pre-K4, and the 5-6. So this is the ornamental fencing. I believe that they said it's 3.5 feet tall. And another slide coming up will show clearer what the fencing looks like. Thanks, Russ. This is the view from Old Town. Note that required screens on the outside equipment and roof fixtures. I'm referring specifically to these fixtures on the roof that are required in the scope of the work due to the proximity of Old Town. Also, the ornamental fencing in the bus loop area next to Prince William Street is illustrated in this slide. And there is your ornamental fencing there, with this being Prince William Street and Main Street up here. This picture shows the ornamental fencing in the front of the building, a much closer look. And the picture also reveals cornices that are required. And for someone that had to look up cornice, what that is it's these special aesthetic designs that really make the building pop, if you will, on the outside. So these are example of cornices. At a previous school board meeting, staff illustrated how specific classrooms could be added when needed. The next two slides will illustrate specific locations. Estimates for Mosley Architects to add 4 classrooms on the first floor would be $680,000 and $340,000 for 4 classrooms on the third floor for a total estimated cost of $1,024,000. The yellow highlighted area on the first floor would be the area for potential expansion as needed, again adding 4 classrooms. All classrooms would align with the same size as the other classrooms in the building, which is 850 square feet. This is a picture of the third floor, which would allow for the addition of 4 classrooms, 2 on each side. That would allow for the addition of 4 classrooms that would be renovated in the extended learning area if needed. Again, those 4 classrooms would be 850 square feet. Once the Baldwin School is complete, it will be necessary to demolish the existing Baldwin Elementary to make room for the new Osborne High School baseball softball complex, again located at 9705 Main Street. While the athletic complex was part of the original bid, it was not considered on this rebid. The estimated cost for this project is estimated at $4 million. Construction would begin after the demolition. It is recommended that the award for this construction project takes place once the ground is prepared and after demolition, which will allow for a better opportunity at a lower cost. In speaking with our current low construction bid company, specifically Schweibel, there's actually a possibility that the new school could be completed in September of 2016, which was originally planned in our original bid. The table you're looking at now, and I apologize for the small font, but the table above illustrates the construction timelines for a September 2016 opening and a January 2000 opening. Schweibel Construction is very anxious to begin this project if the school board approves the staff's recommendation at its next school board meeting on March 10, 2015. Students' transition to the new Baldwin would be different depending on the move-in date, as noted in the 2 sections on the slide above. You can see that the difference would be in 2016, the current Baldwin Elementary students, 5th grade student zone for Baldwin will begin. So only the 5th grade will be there year 1, where it's a year later if we get in January 17. That concludes our presentation for this evening, and Mr. Helton and I and any other staff stand ready for any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, sir, and we appreciate the time-consuming work you all have put into this.
We have to use it.
Are there any questions or? Ms. Purdy.
You talked through the school, but part of the bid included the breezeway.
Yes.
What is that going to entail?
So the breezeway was part of this bid. and I believe it's on that sheet that was provided. The cost of the breezeway will be $198,000 for the breezeway at Osborne High School. That is part of this bid. It's not part of the 32,388. Okay, that funding is different funding from the project when we did Johnson. We just haven't completed that yet. There is some fabrication time with getting that ready, but they understand our urgency to get that part of the project completed quickly.
Yeah, I should have asked a better question. Remember way back when we talked about having it enclosed?
Yes, I'm sorry, it's a breezeway, it's not enclosed, so it's a cement foundation, and Mr. Helton may need to help me with the more specifics, but it's a breezeway, literally, where well, Russ, you go ahead, you probably can explain.
I'm going to interject here real quick. Just for those that did not catch this, this is the breezeway between the Osborne High School and the Johnson Wing for students that are transferring back and forth.
Thank you.
Mr. Hilton.
Mrs. Purdy, cost dictated that we went with a canopy over an enclosed structure.
Okay.
However,
The cost was great, but also one of the other things that we were concerned with is that if we built, it was going to be way over $1 million to put the walkway in, and if we look at the current student population at Osborne High School, if there's a need to put in a wing, that would probably be the location of an additional wing. So putting in over $1 million walkway and then taking it down to put in a wing didn't seem very advantageous at this time.
Well, and that's exactly where I was going.
We are currently building the walkway, the walkways with foundation to it so that we could enclose it if we see our population doesn't grow. But if the population does grow and we have to do a wing, then that's where that wing would go. That will also be part of the study of our 2020-2030 work that we're doing.
That's what I was after. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Sure.
Mrs. Spesky.
Thank you all for all your hard work. This has been a long process. One quick question. You commented to the exterior aesthetics being required by the city and the design process, that the city dictated what you pointed out several different things that had to be put onto the building as their requirements. Are all the buildings in Old Town required to have those things? Or which group dictated that to us?
I'm not sure. For new construction, they follow that handbook that, I don't know, Mr. McCullough, if you want to share that, please.
So there's several other projects getting ready to start in the city. I'm assuming they're going to be held to all of these same constraints is what I'm trying to follow.
Good evening. The city has what they refer to as the Historic District Design Guidelines Handbook, I think is what it's called. It depends on what type of building you're building. If they talk about municipal buildings, if it's new buildings or renovations, things like that, there's different sets of criteria depending on what the building's going to be. This falls into obviously commercial, governmental type of a building. So we were utilizing the guidelines as set forth for the historic district. As Jeff mentioned, the Baldwin site actually sits outside of the historic district. When very early on when we started meeting with the planning department with the city, they strongly requested and recommended that we follow the guidelines of the handbook. They're not hard, fast, you have to do this, but we were trying to comply with the desire and the intention of the city. And if you it's online on the city's website, if you go through that and kind of read through it almost line by line and look at the design concept, you'll see kind of how it grew out of trying to meet the intention of that handbook.
I just was curious, since they're putting an apartment complex across the street from this building, that it aesthetically will look the same at the substantial cost that that's equal, that both things are going to be complementary of each other in that sector of our city. So that's why I asked where that came from. Thank you very much for explanation.
Also, I'll note that Mr. Pate said to me just now they are under the same requirements.
Boy, osmosis there, or?
He looked at me and just said they are.
Vulcan mind meld.
Is that what that is? Thank you, sir. Anyone else, sir?
I do want to comment, so to the members of the community especially, and Mr. Apton, our architects from Mosley, thank you for being here and thank you for what we've done. We understand this has been difficult. As Jeff alluded in his conversation, our first bid came in at $9 million over. The second series of bids after de-scoping still leads us to a point where we have to bond the completion of it for the athletic complex at Osborne High School. And because we live in Northern Virginia, and everybody likes to compare apples and apples, and unfortunately what we really have is fruit salad, because we're building in a historic district, and they're building in a cornfield. So off the top, there's $1.5 million in architectural stuff that wouldn't have to be done. This was the difficult conversations we really had yesterday to understand what that scope difference is. There's probably another $900,000, $1 million in LED lighting that we just learned what the net present value, what the payoff is. And the fancy heating system, and Mr. DeMaria and I still don't know what a chilled beam system is. We now know you don't chill the I-beams. But somehow, whatever the chilled beam system is, comes at a couple of $1 million cost, but a significant potential for downstream savings. And it's the standard in large-scale facilities. And this isn't just a small elementary school. It's still 130,000, 140,000 square feet. It's very big. So the payoff's there. So we really had to understand that to say, the county's bid that was opened the same day comes in at Y, and we're a whole lot more than that. And it's not because we're building a Taj Mahal. There are technical reasons why.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair. Sorry.
Ms. Spall.
I have two things. About the breezeway, when hypothetically is Osborne actually going to get a real hallway?
Breezeway.
The breezeway.
Yeah.
When will the real hallway happen?
There's going to be a breezeway.
You mean the breezeway?
Mr. App?
The breezeway that's part of this bid? When would it be
After
complete?
that, if, this study is done and we don't need more classes there and they get a real hallway that you don't have to go around to the front door to get in, you're not going through the cold every day. Is it going to be when my 7th grade brother is graduating in 2020?
I think like what Dr. McGuirk said, depending on whether or not we need to increase the size of Osborne High School in that parking lot would determine whether or not we would close that in or not. Because that seems like the logical spot if we have to add on to Osborne High School.
So it's possible that it could never happen.
Well, no, what would happen is if the school expands, there would be a hallway with classrooms there, a wing.
All joined together.
Or if we see the student population begin to decline, then we would, if the school board at that time wished, they could add the walls at that time, because it will be designed so that the foundation can hold walls, and we would then enclose it. It's just this temporary time, but Osborne High School is very full, and we have to think ahead. And to build something that, the cost was like $1.4 million. To put $1.4 million into a walkway, and then 3 years from now say, oh, we got to add classrooms, we would tear that down. And it just didn't seem like a good use of funds at this time. Now we'll have a walkway, and yes, sometimes if there's blowing rain and wind, it could blow sideways, but it is better than what we have now, and it's in a place where the parking can still be used. It won't be in the front of the parking lot, it will be towards the back of the parking lot, and you will go in through from the Johnson wing to the back door of the school.
But those doors are still going to be locked at all times, and if you're not going during class changes, you're going to have to go around a little fence and the front door.
I will take that into consideration, and we will look into how we can make that work. Okay?
Okay.
Why are you going in and out when there's not class changes?
If I have to stay late to talk to a teacher, I don't know.
Okay.
And I guess my other thing is, I feel like it's kind of a dumb question, but if I don't ask it,
No such thing.
no one will. Do these kids get a playground?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so,
Big, cool playground.
yeah, there is. I wonder if another picture might be better to show, maybe not necessarily, but there is an enclosed playground for the pre-K and kindergarten on the left side. And then there is play area and an asphalt on the left side and the right side. For
11
grades
helps you a
5,
little
6.
bit.
Which one, 11?
11, a
They
little
don't really
bit.
show up on these modified ones, the
Yeah.
old ones.
Well, they're,
Might be able to tell where.
There's not a playground at Mayfield Intermediate, so on the 5-6 side, you have more of that blacktop area. And I believe we have 6 basketball standards going in there on the right side. And then there's the green space for their playground. They'll have playground equipment. What you can't see in the back where the pre-K classes are, there's an enclosed playground for the pre-K, very similar to like Baldwin has now.
Thank you.
very good question, thank you. Anyone else? And I'm going to jump on what Mr. Albrecht said, and the school in Prince William County is also a duplicate or very close to Yorkshire Elementary, and that reduces the cost. That gives the bidders, they know what they're getting into. So a lot of different reasons that our number came in higher.
It's also a single-story building compared to this being a multi-story building.
Correct. That was-
It doesn't have the LED and the heating that pays for itself over time.
Right.
And it doesn't have the historic district requirement.
No.
So you combine those three factors, and there's a difference between the baseline and...
Exactly. And one of the things that they brought up was that it's a two-story building, and the construction company said we're building a three-story building. The amount of extra steel that has to go into building that steel is much more expensive right now, and it was expensive on the first bid that we had. And they also commented on the stairwells. Once you hit that third floor, everything costs more. We're going to have a wonderful school. It's going to meet the needs of our students now and in the future. It will be a school that, as we look at Dean and what we do with Dean, it will provide opportunities for us to one day possibly have a magnet, because it's still a school within a school. Right now, it's going to solve the overcrowding that we have across the division. Mayfield is bursting at the seams. We will now have a school that will meet their needs, and those students will have the same access to resources and opportunities, and their facility will mirror what they have at Mayfield. I'm excited about where we're going, and I think that our architects have worked with us to hear what we need to have done, and that I look forward to the next 2 weeks where anybody in the community that wishes to discuss Baldwin, please feel free to contact myself or our board members. This is what we call sitting on the table for 2 weeks. There's time for people to ask questions, and there's time for discussion. So I hope that everyone will take that opportunity to look towards our future and ask the questions as we begin this process.
Thank you. And in short terms, this building is a wonderful building, and it's going, if this is the way the school board goes, it's going to give us options now and in the future. Anybody else?
I've got one more comment that
Ma'am.
I forgot to make. If you will go back to the two time schedules. We are really trying hard for the September 2016 opening. When we begin looking at the 2017 budget, we'll make preparations. One of the things that we have with Mayfield is next year, there is a high probability that we'll have 1 or 2 trailers on the Mayfield campus. The sooner we get the school open, the quicker we can get trailers off the campus. And so our goal is to open 2016. Will we be able to remove all of the trailers that we have currently across the division? I don't have that answer yet, but that's what we're working on right now. What we have to do is look at our student population this fall. We're growing between 2 to 3%. The next forward piece that we're working on is Dean, and Dean will also help us hopefully resolve some of our trailer issues. But the sooner that we get Baldwin open, the sooner that we can relieve Mayfield and some of our schools through a redistricting process that we will be looking at in the next 2 months and finish in January of 2017.
Finished in January of 17?
2017, yeah, 2016, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
In 2016.
Okay, now anybody else?
Could I just?
Yes, sir.
One thing, sir, I'm sorry, but the superintendent said something that made me think of this. None of this planning has taken place in a vacuum. We've planned the construction of this school. We know that we needed a new Baldwin. We reached a point where we needed to build a new Baldwin at a time when we could afford it. In planning ahead, one of the things we have to do is we have to look at our debt service. And our debt service had gone down enough that we could afford a school of this size right now. It stretches us a little bit for the next couple of years, but a school of this size fit into our overall plans. That's what we've been planning around for some period of time. As Dr. McGorrick talks about future needs, one of the things about debt service is that it does decrease over time. And in the 4th and 5th years of our current 5-year plan, our debt service goes down significantly, so that when it comes time for us to then again look at the possibility of a construction project, we will be in a better place vis-a-vis our debt service and our ability to afford a new school or a replacement for Dean at that time. All of these things go together. It's not done in a piecemeal fashion. It's part of our overall facility needs, our ability to pay, and our ability to project the use of our revenue or our expenses down the road. So, thank you. Sorry to interject.
No, sir. Thank you very much. One more question. Ms. Paul.
Sorry, I missed if you talked about, for the January 2017 opening, that first year, would there be a 5th grade class there?
For this 2017 opening, no, there would not.
Okay.
Yeah, they would, we're not going to move them from Mayfield after a semester to move over.
All right, thank you.
Doesn't seem.
Right.
Thank you. And you're dismissed. Thank you very much. We appreciate it, gentlemen.
You're not dismissed.
From this moment. Oh, yeah.
You don't have that power, sir.
You can sit down. Governor's School.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the School Board of the City of Manassas approve a resolution that increases the Governor's School at Innovation Park budget by $8,795. And if I get a second, I can explain why this is necessary.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bushnell, second by Mr. Albrecht. Is there any discussion anywhere? Sir.
The Governor's School has received donations totaling $8,795. We need to increase the Governor's School budget by this amount so that those donations can be included. There is no cost to the City of Manassas for increasing the budget in this fashion. It merely allows the fiscal agent, the Prince William County Schools, to change the budget. It would be, it has to be approved by us, by Manassas Park, and by Prince William County. But we are asking for your approval tonight to do that so that we can increase the budget without increasing our costs.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other discussion? Mrs. Besky.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Bushnell, can you explain why those funds could not be used within our system towards STEM initiatives?
These are donations made to the Governor's School. They are not donations made to us.
Good explanation. Anyone else? Thank you, sir. I have a motion by Mr. Bushnell, second by Mr. Albrecht, that the School Board of the City of Manassas approve resolution number 201508. Does anybody need me to read that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries 7-0. And we took care of the other during consent.
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Sebeski, second by Mr. Bushnell to adjourn the school board meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?